These haters, if you ride with us, we appreciate you tremendously. If you fade us, we respect that to the fullest. But if you talk and disrespect us, then it's you. These goofies know the vibes. Zone 6 picks just delivered a clean 2-0 sweep. That's the bounce back we needed. Doubt us if you want, but the grind don't stop and the vision stays clear. Trust the work, trust the process, and most importantly, trust the zone. Losing is part of the game sometimes, but this ain't just about one slate. This is the marathon. It's about discipline, growth, and staying solid through the ups and downs. Every pick, every slate, every bounce back is part of a bigger journey. Stay focused, stay loyal to the grind, and understand, we're building something that lasts. Now let's keep the street sweepers in the streets.
What's up, family? Thanks for tapping in with Zone 6 Picks, where we drop game picks every single day. Straight free picks, no pay for play. If you like winning, this the zone you need to be in, Zone 6. Just show the channel some love, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you don't never miss a money play. Let's eat.
What's good, Zone 6 fam? We've got a 5-game WNBA slate for Sunday, August 3rd, and games tip off early, so we're tight on time. That means no infographics today, just straight heat with the picks and analysis you need to lock in early and get to the money. Let's get right to it. Diving straight into Sunday's first WNBA matchup between the New York Liberty and the Connecticut Sun. The Liberty come into this one licking their wounds from a surprising 78-62 loss to this same Connecticut squad just 2 nights ago. In that game, New York turned the ball over 23 times and shot under 34% from the field. Connecticut controlled the glass and completely disrupted the Liberty's rhythm, despite being statistically one of the worst defensive teams in the league. That win for the Sun was their 5th of the season, snapping a long losing streak and momentarily masking some deeper issues. They still rank last in points per game, last in defensive rating, and have the league's worst net rating at -15.8. So while they executed their game plan to perfection last time out, sustaining that kind of performance is another story. Now let's talk numbers. New York is still the top offense in the W, averaging nearly 87 points a night, and sporting an offensive rating of 108.5. They're 5-7 on the road, but have shown they can bounce back, especially after being embarrassed. In terms of player availability, Breanna Stewart, Kennedy Burke, and Nyara Sabally are still out. Off the trading block, Emma Meeseman is expected to make her debut, adding a new dimension to their frontcourt. Sandy Brindello remains one of the league's most trusted tacticians, and you can bet they'll make the proper adjustments. As for Connecticut, they're fully healthy, but their roster just doesn't have the weapons to keep pace over 4 quarters. Their defense has been historically bad, and that 78-point showing may be more about Liberty's breakdowns than Sun dominance. The spread opened at Liberty -11 and has climbed to -12.5. Sharp money pushed that number early, indicating some early respect for Connecticut. But public sentiment remains mixed. We're not buying the noise. New York is due for a correction, and Connecticut's recent win looks like a peak, not a trend. Final score projection: New York Liberty 88, Connecticut Sun 75. We're backing the Liberty to bounce back and cover the -12.5 spread. Now let's talk about the matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Seattle Storm going down in Seattle. The spread has Seattle sitting at a 2.5-point favorite at home. And after diving into all the angles, player availability, trends, and team metrics, this one feels like a spot where the Storm are positioned to cover. The biggest headline here is the absence of Caitlin Clark. She's been out with lingering quad and groin issues, and once again, she won't be suiting up. Her absence has forced Indiana to lean heavily on Ari McDonald and Aaliyah Boston, and while they've done a solid job so far, leading the Fever to 4 straight wins, including a solid 88-78 victory over Dallas, it's tough to replace the playmaking and gravity Clark brings to the floor. Seattle, on the other hand, is close to full strength. Katie Lou Samuelson remains out, but that's not a major hit to the core of this team. They've got their key contributors healthy, including Jewel Lloyd and Ezzie Magbiger, and they've been thriving at home. They're scoring over 87 points per game on their own court, while allowing just under 82. And Coach Noel Quinn's system has them pushing in transition and locking in defensively in key spots. Now Indiana has been solid against the spread, 15-13 ATS overall, and they've covered in 4 of their last 5 meetings against Seattle. In fact, they've won 6 of their last 8 games outright when playing in Seattle. That's no small thing. But when you factor in the cross-country travel totaling over 3,000 miles and the emotional letdown potential after a strong win streak, this feels like a game where that edge slips. The betting market opened at Seattle -2 and has now moved to -2.5, which tells us there's early money backing the Storm. The line's still within a 3-point bucket, and that's key. This isn't about blowing Indiana out, it's about doing just enough. And with Seattle playing at home, rested and facing a Clark-less Indiana squad, that should be exactly what happens. Final score projection: Seattle Storm 88, Indiana Fever 82. Our pick takes Seattle -2.5. Staying locked in, we head back home to ATL, where the Washington Mystics and the Atlanta Dream face off not too far from Zone 6. This one tips off at the Gateway Center in College Park, and the Dream are laying 5.5 points as home favorites. After digging into the numbers and the context, I'm riding with Hotlanta to get it done and cover that spread. Shout out to the home team, ATL baby. Key players like Ryan Howard and Brittany Griner are out, and Jordan Canada is expected to play. For Washington, they remain without Georgia Amore, and Aaliyah Edwards is listed as game-time decision. Washington is also shorthanded, with Sika Kane being out. The Dream are rolling right now, winners of 4 of their last 5, and sitting at 17-11. They've regained the form we saw earlier this season. They're currently 3rd in the league standings, and doing it without key pieces like Ryan Howard and Brittany Griner. Still, the team is thriving thanks to elite offensive execution and strong chemistry under coach Carl Smesko. In their most recent outing, Atlanta blew out the Phoenix Mercury 95-72, led by Alicia Gray's 26-point performance. On the other side, Washington enters at 13-14 and just dropped a heartbreaker to the Golden State Valkyries by a single point. Offensively, they've been flat, scoring 72 or fewer in 3 of their last 4 games. Head-to-head, Atlanta has owned this matchup lately. They're up 2-1 in the season series, including a 33-point blowout and a tight 92-91 win. In all 3 meetings, Atlanta has scored at least 89 points, and historically, they've taken 7 of the last 10 games between these two. Statistically, the Dream are the superior team. They rank 2nd in offensive rating and have averaged over 82 points per game across their last 10. Defensively, they're top 6. Washington, meanwhile, is near the bottom in offensive production, scoring just under 78 per game over that same stretch. While their 3-point defense ranks 1st, that number looks more like a statistical outlier than a defensive identity. With Atlanta playing at home, where they're 9-4 on the season, and the Mystics continuing to struggle on the road, this is a clear edge for the Dream. I'm projecting a final score of Atlanta 89, Washington 81. That gives us an 8-point margin, more than enough to cover the 5.5. Moving on to the Chi-Town game between the Phoenix Mercury and the Chicago Sky. The spread is sitting at Mercury -13.5 on the road. And I'm here to tell you, this one looks like a clear opportunity for Phoenix to dominate and cover. Let's start with what matters most: injuries. The Chicago Sky are walking into this game severely depleted. They'll be without Angel Reese, Ariel Atkins, Courtney Vandersloot, and Haley Van Lith. That's a full starting lineup worth of talent on the sideline. Michaela Onienwer is also listed day-to-day, and her availability is still in question. With this many absences, both their offense and defense are completely compromised. Phoenix comes into this one fully healthy. The Sky are in the middle of a freefall, dropping 7 straight games. And it's not just that they're losing, it's how they're losing. They've failed to cover in their last 5, and the losses haven't even been close. A 17-point beatdown by Washington, a 15-point loss to Indiana, a 38-point humiliation against Seattle, and a 23-point loss to Minnesota. These aren't outliers. This is a consistent trend of a team that simply can't compete right now. Phoenix, meanwhile, is coming in with more firepower and momentum. They're 2nd in the Western Conference at 16-11, and just dropped 101 points in a shootout loss to Indiana. Even in defeat, the Mercury offense continues to hum. They're averaging over 83 points per game and shooting over 43% from the field. Chicago's defense, on the other hand, is allowing over 87 points per game and just can't keep teams out of rhythm, especially without their core defenders. Against the spread, Chicago is one of the worst home underdogs in the league, 2-9 ATS in that spot. Phoenix hasn't been flawless as a road favorite, but this is a different kind of matchup. They're facing a team that's not just losing, but unraveling. That's why we're backing the Mercury to not just win, but win comfortably. Final score projection: Phoenix Mercury 92, Chicago Sky 70. Lock in Phoenix -13.5. This is a mismatch. Let's wrap it up with Sunday's matchup between the Golden State Valkyries and the Las Vegas Aces. The line has Vegas as a 7.5-point home favorite, but after breaking down the matchups, trends, and current form, I'm leaning heavily toward the Valkyries to cover. And don't be surprised if they make it 4 straight wins. Let's start with what matters most, recent history. These teams have already faced off twice this season. The Valkyries absolutely ran the Aces off the floor in their first meeting, 95-68. Vegas responded with a narrow 104-102 win in the rematch. But what's important here is that in both games, Golden State covered the spread. That tells us Vegas is struggling to pull away from this gritty Valkyries squad, even when they win. Valkyries are down Monique Billings and lost Kayla Thornton earlier. Tiffany Hayes and Cecilia Zandalasini are game-time decision. And Cheyenne Parker-Tyus is out for the season after giving birth. And now the Aces are in a tough situational spot. They're playing the second night of a back-to-back after getting embarrassed at home by the Minnesota Lynx. Losing by 53 points, that kind of loss leaves a mark. Fatigue, frustration, and emotional will all become real factors in the second leg of a back-to-back. Meanwhile, the Valkyries are rested and riding momentum from 3 straight wins, including a gritty 73-66 road victory over Chicago. Golden State has built its success on defense. They rank second in the league in defensive rating, lead the WNBA in rebounding, and allow the fewest paint points per game. Over their last 3 wins, they've held teams to under 70 points per game. That kind of defense travels, and it's exactly what you want backing you when playing against a team like Vegas on tired legs. The Aces, while still talented, have been inconsistent all season. They're 14-13, and just 9-11 against the spread as a home favorite. Their offense averages 81.6 per game, but gives up 82.3. And while Aja Wilson remains elite, she can't do it all on her own, especially with depth issues and injuries still in the picture. Final score projection: Las Vegas Aces 80, Golden State Valkyries 75. We're backing Golden State to cover the plus 7.5. This one's all about defense, rest, and the numbers. Here's a quick recap of the picks for the August 3rd WNBA slate. We're backing Liberty minus 12.5 to bounce back strong, Storm minus 2.5 to defend home court, Dream minus 5.5 to take care of a short-handed Mystics team, Mercury minus 13.5 to dominate a depleted Sky roster, and Valkyries plus 7.5 to keep it close against a tired Aces squad. 5 games, 5 sharp picks. Let's sweep the slate and cash out. And that's a wrap for today's slate. Zone 6 went 2-0 yesterday, and we want 5-0 today. But remember, this is the marathon. Wins come from consistency, patience, and trusting the work behind every pick. If you're rocking with us, lock in for the long haul. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay tapped in with the zone. We're not chasing quick hits, we're building something real. Stay down, trust the process, and let's run this marathon together.